Is there any noise in
Good
the background?
morning.
Or it's fine?
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so is there any disturbance in the background?
On your end?
In my background, yes.
No.
No, ma'am.
It's okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah?
Okay. So let's start today's class. Yes. Okay. So we were doing fracture yesterday. Yes, we studied fracture.
Yes, we discussed fractures.
Yes, and we also discussed
We-
synovial joints. Okay, we'll do a little bit of revision.
And we did the layers of the bones, diseases, and causes. We ended with the causes.
Okay. So, how many types of joints we had? The 3 types we had.
3 types, yeah. Immovable, semi-movable, and movable.
Yes. Immovable, semi, and movable. Movable or synovial. Okay. Why these are called synovial joints? Because there is synovial fluid. Yes. Synovial fluid. Okay. So, in immovable, what are the examples of immovable joints?
Skull sutures.
Yes, skull sutures.
Um,
Yes. In semi,
the rib cage.
yes, very good. Rib cage. Yeah. Okay. And in movable or synovial joints, we have 6, 7 types of joints. Like we have hinge joint. Then we have pivot joint. Yes, please tell me more.
Ball and socket.
Ball and socket.
Ellipsoid.
Yes. Ball and socket, ellipsoid,
Plane joint.
and DE. What?
Is that right? Plane joint? No.
Plane.
Yeah, I also have it as the plain joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
condyloid joints.
Condyloid. Yes. We have these. Okay. Example of hinge joint.
Oh God.
It is the knee and the elbow.
Yes, very good. Knee and elbow. Pivot joint.
Your wrist
Pivot joint is
is it's your elbow. Well, no, I don't know. Is it your wrist or elbow?
no, none.
Oh, is it the two? Well, I don't know.
Yes. The 2 bones.
The 2 bones in your forearm?
Yes, ulna and radius. Okay. So the joint is here. This pivot joint is here. Okay.
Okay.
This ball and socket. There's so many examples. Shoulder, very
Hip.
and hip. Yes. Which is more stable?
Hip.
The
More stable.
more stable is the hips.
Yes. And more movement
is the shoulders.
Yes, in shoulder. Ellipsoid, example of ellipsoid.
The wrist.
Yes, the radiocarpal joint. Plane.
Your hands and feet.
Carpals and
Yes,
metatarsals.
carpals. Yes, very good. And tarsals. Condyloid.
Phalanges.
Phalanges.
Phalanges. Yes. And condyloid is that there is no rotation, like in phalanges, in the fingers. Phalanges. Okay. So, next. Okay, we studied about abduction, adduction. What is abduction? Is abduction, adduction. Okay. Flexion, extension. Rotation is this rotation, and circumduction is this movement. Circular motion of the arm is circumduction. Then yesterday I think we did the lateral flexion of spinal cord. Lateral flexion.
Yes, the movement in the vertical plane.
Yes, very good. So lateral flexion. In this, the spine bends left and right. Left or right. That's called lateral flexion. Okay. Then we studied twisting in the spine. Twisting is basically the spine is upper half is twisted in one direction, the lower half is twisted in other direction. Basically, the upper half twist backwards. Yeah, you understand this? In 𝐘𝐨𝐿 we do this. We did example, yes. And in this we do Trikonasana. In twisting, it's 𝐘𝐨𝐿. And then we have axial. This is X. Axial extension. In this, this is the lateral view of spine. And what we are doing, we are reducing these curves of cervical, thoracic, and lumbar region, and we are trying to elongate it. We are trying to elongate the spine, like in Tadasana, that is the axial extension. Okay, I think this is very clear. Okay, so then we did I think I will continue.
Tendons, fascia, ligaments, and cartilages.
Yes, we did. Yes. But I think I will start other movements. Okay, like we are doing the movements here. I'll continue with that, like of hand. Okay, we have ulna. This is new. Okay, this is ulnar deviation. Or should I just cover yesterday's and then tell fresh? Should I just revise all and then start fresh?
We can continue, it's fine.
Okay.
Happy to continue.
Okay. So you see here, this we can do this movement. Okay. This movement of the wrist. Okay. This is stable. Okay. This movement, this is called ulnar deviation. When we are moving it outside is ulna. When we are moving inside, it's called radial deviation. Ulnar deviation and radial deviation. So in this, movement of fingers is towards ulna, that is towards this. Okay, this is ulna, here this is ulna, and this is radius. So when we are moving towards ulna is ulnar deviation. When we are moving towards the thumb or the radius is called radial deviation. This is movement of fingers towards the radius. That is. Okay. Oh, I haven't spotlighted myself. Okay, please take screenshot of this. Yes. Okay. Then next we have opposition. In opposition, the movement of thumb and little finger together. This is opposition. Okay, when these two are touching each other, this is opposition. Okay. Then for wrist, we have dorsiflexion. Okay, dorsiflexion or wrist extension. Wrist extension is this movement. Dorsi. You see, this is a dorsal. Okay, dorsal side. So the dorsal flexion, what I told you, flexion is when the angle between two bones is reduced, is called flexion. So dorsiflexion is dorsal flexion when the angle is reducing. It is also called as wrist extension. Also called as wrist extension. So dorsi and flexion. You can remember from this that this is the dorsal area, okay, the posterior part, and flexion is when the angle is being reduced. Dorsiflexion. Then we have palmar flexion, also called as wrist flexion. Okay, what is palmar flexion? This is palm. Okay, this. The angle here is being reduced. Okay, this is palmar flexion. I hope this is very clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, finger flexion. In finger flexion, what happens? This. finger, the angle is reduced, is finger flexion. Finger flexion is when the fingers are closed to form a wrist, form a fist. Okay, then we have finger extension. You can obviously tell what is finger extension. Yeah, finger, this is finger flexion, and this is finger flexion, and then this is
Finger extension.
yes, this is opening fingers from the fist. Okay. So next is finger abduction and adduction. I've already told you this is abduction, this is adduction. Finger abduction and finger adduction. Okay. Abduction is moving away from the midline. Adduction is moving towards the midline. Abduction, adduction. So finger abduction, finger abduction. So we have done this of the wrist and of the hand. Dorsiflexion. This is dorsiflexion. Then palmar flexion. Dorsiflexion, palmar flexion. Dorsiflexion, palmar flexion. You don't have to mug this up. Okay. This is, we have done those directional terms, and we have done those plane. Okay, anatomical planes. This is why we did, because we were about to study these. So this is dorsal, so dorsiflexion. Okay, flexion we know, reducing the angle. Then this is palmar flexion, reducing the angle here. So palmar flexion. Finger flexion. Flexion is reducing the angle. Then finger extension is increasing the angle. Finger abduction, finger adduction, abduction, adduction. Okay. Then similarly, we have thumb flexion and thumb extension, abduction and adduction. Okay. So this is thumb flexion, thumb extension, then thumb abduction, thumb adduction. Okay, so thumb flexion is closing it. Thumb flexion, thumb extension, thumb flexion, thumb extension, thumb flexion, thumb extension. Then thumb abduction, thumb adduction, abduction, adduction. I think this is very, very clear.
Yes, it is.
Yes, okay. Now we are moving to shoulder joint, clavicle. Okay. There are some movements in the clavicle. And these are generally, you see here, this collarbone. We have collarbone. This is the end of the collarbone. Okay. And we are defining all the movements in respect to this end of the collarbone. All right. So in this, we have elevation. Elevation, as the word suggests, is moving this end of clavicle bone upwards. Okay, like we do all those shoulder exercises. Okay, so this moving it upward is moving only this upward. It's called elevation of just elevation. Okay, and this we have elevation. Elevation. and we have depression. So when the distal end of clavicle bone moves upward, it moves upward is called elevation. When it moves downward, it's called depression. Upward elevation, downward depression, elevation and depression, elevation and depression. This we are studying in respect of distal end of clavicle bone. This is upward and here this is downward. Okay. You can take screenshot of this. Okay. Then in this, we have retraction. Retraction is clavicle backward move. No, we have protraction and retraction. Protraction and retraction. Okay. Now, just do this. Okay. Do this. Just move your shoulders forward. Now, when you move your shoulders forward, and here in definition, we are talking about the distal end of clavicle bone. When this distal end of clavicle bone is moving forward, okay, it is moving forward. What is happening to the scapula? It is protruding outside. Can you imagine that? You can see of each other if anyone is present there. Okay, so when you move your clavicle bone, distal end of clavicle bone forward, the scapula is extending, it's protruding outside. That is called protraction of scapula. Okay, when this distal end of clavicle bone moves forward, the scapula is protracted. And when the distal end of clavicle bone moves backward, the opposite of protraction is retraction. There is, it is accompanied by scapula retraction. Yes. So all these elevation, depression, protraction, and retraction, these we are studying in respect to this clavicle distal end of clavicle bone. This. Okay. So elevation is when you're moving your shoulder upward. Depression is when you're moving your shoulder downwards. Protraction is when you're moving your shoulder forward, and the scapula, the triangular bone, it shows protraction. Then retraction is when you're moving your shoulder backward, the scapula is showing retraction. I'll give you an image of this. Okay, this is retraction. You can take screenshot if you want. And then we have protraction. Okay, you can take screenshot of this. Okay, so now you can take screenshot of the board. Okay. Yes, now we will study the supportive structures. Okay, I'll erase it. Supportive structure. In this, we studied cartilage, ligament, tendons, and fascia. So these are basically like threads. We have threads, buttons, safety pins. Okay, like that. These are those structures. Okay, what is cartilage? Please tell me. Cartilage. Cartilage.
It's found at the top of the bone.
Yes, it's the tip of
Yeah,
the
the tip.
bones. Yes, generally present at the joints. Okay, what is the function of cartilage? Why it is present?
Protecting the bone so that it doesn't shave against the other.
Yes, good. And it smoothens the movement between the joints, between the bones, okay, around the joint. And it also smoothens the movement and also protects the bones. And one more. There is less friction. Okay. Yes. And what happens if this cartilage is it wants off after wearing of cartilage? What happens? What is that situation called?
Arthritis.
Arthritis. Yes. So when this cartilage is there, so that the bones do not rub against each other. Okay. This is a soft thing that covers the bone, so when they move against each other, there is not too much of friction. But if this cartilage is worn off, then there will be a lot of friction in the bones, and due to that friction there will be pain. Okay, there will be inflammation. Due to that, there will be pain in the joints. So that pain in the joints is termed as arthritis. Okay, then we have ligament. What is a ligament?
It attaches bones to bones.
Yes, it holds the bones together. Bones, bone to bone. Then what is tendon?
Attach muscles to bones.
Muscle to bone. And what is fascia?
Muscle, it attaches muscle to muscle.
Yes, very good. Sometimes I can write something to confuse you. Huh? Okay, so here we are done with the supportive structures. Okay, so we will study some disease and disorders of skeletal system. Before that, we have 3 layers of the bones. The 3 layers of the bones. Layers of bones. Of a bone. Can you tell me those?
Compact bone, spongy bone, and bone marrow.
No, bone marrow is not a layer.
Periosteum,
Yes, then
compact bone,
yes, very good. And
spongy bone.
yes, very good. And then we have within the spongy bone, we have what you were saying. You were saying something?
The bone marrow.
Yes, in this we have marrow, the bone marrow. Yes. Okay, so the 3 layers, periosteum and compact, these are hard layers of the bone, and inside that we have spongy bone, which is softer, and in that we have our bone marrow stored. Okay, so next is the diseases or disorders. We have the arthritis, osteosarcoma. What is, we have discussed arthritis. Now what is osteosarcoma?
It's cancer in the bone.
Yes, anything, if you see osteo word, it is related to bone. So osteosarcoma is the cancer in the bone. Then osteoporosis. What is osteoporosis?
When there's not enough calcium in the bone.
Yes. So because of that, the bone gets very fragile and brittle. And we can, if a person is suffering from osteoporosis, he can easily get a fracture in his bone, even if he's just walking. It is seen that if a person is suffering from osteoporosis, he doesn't have enough calcium in the bone, then even if he's playing something like badminton, like any sport, any kind of sport, or he gets little bit of jerk, he jumps, okay, he faces the fracture in the bone because the bones have become very fragile and brittle. Brittle is that they can break off easily. Okay, then we studied fracture and types of fracture. What is fracture? Fracture is the bone has broken. So a bone can break into so many ways. We studied yesterday types of
Stable.
fracture. Yes,
Stable
stable.
fracture.
Yes, yes, yes. And stable, then
There was
stable.
a open,
Yes,
open
open.
fracture,
Yes, open fracture. Or
oblique,
compound. Oblique, compound. Yes,
and
oblique.
communate.
Then transverse. And comminuted. Nuted. Okay. So what happens in stable?
It's a clean break of the bone and can easily heal.
Sorry, stable fracture. What is in
A stable fracture, it's neatly
Yes.
broken.
Yes, there is just the bones are intact in their place. Okay, the bones have not moved. It just there is a crack in the bone. Oblique. What is oblique?
It's a angled or horizontal fracture.
This is angled and this is horizontal. Okay, this is like this and this is like this. And stable is this. The bones have not moved. There is only just a crack in the bone. Oblique is angled fracture. Transverse is the horizontal fracture. Comminuted is
When it has broken into 3 or more places.
3 or more pieces. Yes. Three or more pieces. Then we have open or compound fracture. What is that?
That is when the skin has broken.
Yes, along with the bone, the skin has also been pierced, and it can be due to the bone or the accident that took place, due to that blow, that hit. It can pierce the skin as well. Yes. Okay. So how can, I think we studied till here yesterday.
We also get the causes.
Causes. Okay. What are the causes of a fracture?
Trauma, accidents, osteoporosis, or overuse.
Yes. So trauma, osteoporosis, we have discussed. As an accident, we know. Overuse is like when this basically happens in case of athletes when they are overusing their, like over exercising or over practicing and not in proper way, then they can get a fracture. Okay. And we also studied a sprain and tear. That is, connective tissue is overstretched. Sprain is the connective tissue. We studied ligament, tendon, fascia. If they are overstretched, that is a case of sprain. Okay. So it is always advised that you practice, and you practice in such a way that you extend your capacity, like you stretch just little bit above your capacity. Okay, then you will not get any sprain. But if you overdo it, then there is a chance of sprain. Yes. Now we have to see that we should take care of our skeletal system, that is our bones. So what is necessary? What all steps can we take to take care of our bones? Here. Now this is fresh topic. Please tell me what all can we do to protect our skeletal system, our bones.
Taking enough calcium.
Taking enough calcium. And how do we do? Take
Through
enough
food.
calcium
The food
to
we
eat. Eat what?
Leafy greens.
Leafy greens. No,
Yeah.
for okay, there are some calcium like in curry
For
patta we
for
have.
vegans, yeah, for vegans and vegetarians, leafy greens, because I don't drink milk.
Okay. Yes, we have one curry patta. It is rich in calcium. I don't know what it is called in English. It's curry patta. Okay. Curry leaves. Okay, it's rich in calcium. Then milk, yogurt. Then we have makhana. I don't know what it is called in English. It's a dry fruit, white in color. Okay, I'll give you a photo of makhana. It is rich in calcium. Then til is rich in calcium. It's all vegan food. Okay, so makhana. Snack. Popped makhana. Okay. So here, this, I don't know what you people call this. Please tell me what you call it. Here, what is this?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Okay, but we get it from lotus. This is yes, I remember. It is called lotus seed. Popped lotus seed. Yes, we get it from lotus flower. Okay, this is popped lotus seed. Okay, And then we have til. I don't know what you people call to that. It's a seed. Like we have flax seeds. Til in English. Hasta. You know what is hasta? Okay. Sesame seeds.
Yes.
Yes, you know that? Yes. So these are rich in calcium. And if you soak these seeds at night, and then in the morning you just grind them, and it's like milk-like structure, it's rich in calcium, like highly rich in calcium.
I like tahini. Tahini is sesame.
Okay, yes, probably in your local. I'll just share an image of it. See, food is so important everywhere. Okay, so what else is rich in calcium? Okay, fine, you all know what is rich in calcium. But these are like still seeds. Yes. Then what else can we do?
Maybe take vitamin D.
Yes, very good. Vitamin D. And especially sun, from the sun. Instead of taking the supplements of vitamin D, we should sit under the sun and get vitamin D. Yes, what else can we do to take care of our skeletal system?
Be active.
Yes, exercise. And maintain a healthy weight. Maintain BMI, body mass index. Then what else? Can you tell me in something related to fracture? What can we do to avoid fracture? Something like, I'm giving you a hint that we can do, like so that a person doesn't get fracture. Wear protective gear in sports. Protective gear, because you see in kids, they generally get like this elbow joint, they break, or the knee, or the legs, like arms or legs, kids generally break. It's why because they would not wear protective gear. So it is advised to wear protective gear while playing any kind of sport, like wear proper gears, so to avoid any fracture and to maintain our skeletal system. Okay, this we are done with gear. If you want to add something, we can add. Anything you want to add? Okay, yeah, good. Now, I want to add something to our previous topic, that is, we studied types of bones. Yes, we studied axial appendicular bones. Okay, we studied axial appendicular. Okay, in axial, what did we study? Can you please tell? Are you listening to me?
Axial.
Yes, axial.
Skull.
Bones. Skull. And
Rib cage.
Spine.
rib cage or thoracic cage. And
Like the vertebra.
Yes. And in appendicular, what did we study?
Shoulder, shoulder.
Shoulder, then pectoral girdle, then
The arm,
arm,
the hand,
arm, leg, and
pelvic girdle. Pelvic.
yes, pelvic. Yes. So in this we have skull. In skull we have cranial and huh? In skull, cranial and facial. You see, you don't have to think so much. You have your body. Okay. It is always with you. So this is cranial and this is facial. Now tell me, rib. We have how many pairs in rib cage?
It's a floating.
Huh?
Yeah.
Hello. How many pairs?
12 pairs.
Yes, very good. And in this, how many are true rib cages? 12 pairs.
7.
Huh. Yes, 7 are true and 5 are false. Out of these, 3 and 2. These 2 are
Good.
floating ribs. True ribs, false ribs, and floating ribs. Now, vertebrae. We have how many types of vertebrae? How many types of vertebral column? The bones in vertebral column. Starting with the neck.
7.
Yes,
Seven.
7. What?
7, yes.
Cervical.
Cervical. Yes, very good. Then we have
12. Thoracic.
Thoracic.
yes, thoracic 12. Then
5.
Five.
Lumbar.
lumbar 5. Very good.
Sacrum 1.
Sacrum. Yes, sacrum 5 fused
5.
into 1. And then last is
Coccyx.
coccyx. Yes, 1. It is the tailbone. Yes, so this thoracic, from this thoracic vertebral, the 12 ribs are originating. 12 pairs of ribs are originating. Okay. So in appendicle, we have shoulder girdle. In this, we have clavicle and scapula, which we studied today also. Clavicle, the collarbone, and scapula. This is scapula. Then in arm, we have humerus. And then what do we have here? Humerus, then here, what do we have? How many bones we have here?
2. Ulnus and radius.
Yes, very good. Ulna and radius. Then what do we have here? What do we have here?
The carpal thing.
Yes, carpals. How many carpals?
8.
Yes, very good. Then here,
Metacarpal.
very good. Metacarpals. How many?
5.
Yes. Then what do we have here?
The phalanges.
Yes, very good. Phalanges. How many phalanges do we have? Okay, how many
4.
types of phalanges we have?
3.
Yes. What are those?
Proximal, middle, and distal.
Which one is this?
Distal.
This?
Middle. Proximal.
Very good. So we have distal, middle, and proximal. How many distal?
5.
5. How many proximal?
5.
How many middle?
4.
Why?
There's not a middle on the thumb.
Yes, very good. Okay, then in the leg, what do we have?
Femur.
Femur,
Then your patella, your
Fibula,
kneecap.
tibia,
Yes, tibia and fibula. Yes. Then we have tarsals, 7. Then next,
Metatarsal.
metatarsal, 5. Then same, phalanges, distal, middle, and proximal. Then we have pelvic girdle. In pelvic girdle, we have ilium, ischium, and pubis. Ilium, ischium, and pubis. Okay. So this we covered. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you something. Okay. What time is it?
We have 7 minutes left.
7 minutes left. Okay, good enough. Okay, so we have long bone, types of bones. Long, short, then we have flat, irregular, and sesamoid. Okay, so can you give example of long bone? As the name suggests, it is long. Okay, can you give example of long bone?
The femur
Femur, yes.
or your forearm.
Hmm?
Your forearm.
Humerus.
Not, yeah, your.
Humerus, yeah. Yes, humerus. And
um,
you see the limbs. Okay, you see they are very long bones. Okay, here and these two. Then in the legs, thigh bone and the shin bone and the tibia and fibula. Okay, so all these are long bones. As you can see in your body, you don't have to mark these up. These are evident. You can look at your body and you see there are 2 bones here, 1 bone here, and similarly in the legs, 2 bones and 1 bone. So in total 6 bones. Yes, and you know femur, tibia, fibula, all these are long bones. Yes, so short bones.
the tarsals, carpals.
Yes, the carpals and tarsals here. These are very small bones. Yes, so see, we did the revision of that. Now it's more easy to recall all the bones. That's why I believe in revisions. Okay, there's, Bruce Lee. He says that I'm not afraid of the 10,000 kicks of my opponent. I am afraid of that one kick which he has practiced 10,000 times. Okay, so that is the importance of revision. So short bone, flat, short bones you have done, carpals and carpals and tarsals. Now flat bone.
Ribs.
Yes.
Is your pelvic girdle flat or no?
Pelvic
The-
girdle
the-
is it is irregular.
The skull, from the skull.
Yes, the skull. The skull, the sternum, these are flat bones. Okay. And then irregular.
The spinal columns.
Yes, the all the vertebral column, all the bones are irregular. The sacrum, the pelvic girdle, all these are irregular shape. Then sesamoid. Sesamoid is, you can write, these are embedded in tendons. Okay, they are like fully covered in tendons. Okay, and this example of sesamoid is patella, the kneecap, patella. Okay, I'll give you a picture of this. Okay, I'm not writing it. You can take picture of this. Okay. Yes. So I think this is very clear. Long bone, short bone, flat bone, irregular bone, sesamoid. Okay. So long bone, as we can see, the arms, in arms we have humerus, we have ulna radius, and similarly we have thigh bone and tibia and fibula. Then in short, we have carpals and carpals and tarsals. And flat, we have frontal, all the bones of the skull. Okay, all those, these are flat bones. Then irregular, we have vertebral column bones, and in sesamoid, we have patella. I think this is all is very, very clear to you. If you have any doubt, you can ask.
No, no question.
Okay. So, and I think I have already given you the assignment. I hope you're working on that.
Yep. Already
Okay.
turned
Already
it.
handed in. Thank you.
Okay, you have. That's great. Very awesome. So you have sent the Word file?
Yeah, I emailed the word.
We sent it today. Who's
What?
the manager here? He
Sorry?
sends all our assignments into the Himalayan Association.
I'm not able to understand.
We emailed our.
Okay, okay.
We send our assignments.
Word file.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. See you all on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.